Hello, it is September the 9th, Tuesday. This is a review, a hypercritical review of Apple's September announcement event. Now, I am a substantial Apple user, but I'm a long-standing also Apple skeptic. So let's see how we go. This event has been a long time in the pipeline for Apple. Of course, it's their main event of the year to announce the iPhone 17. Let's see what else they announced. Like I say, I do have skin in the game since I am an Apple user, as well as other things like a Linux and Windows user. So let's get going. So they had an event which was over an hour long. It only focused on the watch and phone side of things. It did not touch the computers. So there are no MacBook announcements to date. So rumours of the M5 chip, etc., are just a load of baloney. Let's get going. Right, so I've just written this article. We've got the Apple Watch version 11, a minor upgrade to the Ultra, Apple Airpods Pro 3, and the iPhone 17. Now, AirPods 3, I'm a big fan of AirPods. Having been a terrible skeptic, but then Linus Tech Tips did say how great they were, and I can confirm the AirPods 2 Pro are fantastic. So what they're promising with the AirPods Pro 3 is better noise reduction. In the UK, the price is still coming out at about £220. Now, the other big feature they announced was this live translation feature, whereby if you were wearing the headphones, you could talk to someone in your language. Then the receiver who was listening with the AirPods Pro 3 could have that translated into their own native language. So you can imagine two people, each owning the AirPods Pro 3, could talk to each other, even if they didn't understand the other person's language. So that's a brilliant feature. I've been hosting someone for 5 weeks who didn't speak a word of English, and I didn't speak their language. So this would have been brilliant. I have heard that this feature is going to be backported to AirPods Pro 2. Nevertheless, I think of all the things that have been announced today, if you said, I've got to buy something, I feel like I need to spend a bit of Apple money, I'd go for these AirPods Pro 3. Of course, you really need an Apple phone, an iPhone, to make the best of it. So, yeah, that's my summary today. If you want to spend some money, AirPods Pro 3 is the way to go. There is heart rate monitoring on these earbuds, but quite why that would be important to you, I really don't know. Because if you use an Apple Watch to do your activity monitoring, it's obviously got a superior heart rate monitoring mechanism on your wrist. This would only be an advantage if you use an iPhone to do your activity recording, and I don't know if a third-party app would give you any benefit. Oh yes, there's a small amount of extra battery life. So if they're anything like as good as AirPods 2, and clearly they must be, it's a buy. Next on the list is the iPhone 17 Air. Again, much pre-announced. And as promised, this is a ludicrously thin, so it's a 5.64 millimeters. Let's just double check. Where did I say that? I did say that somewhere. Surely I said that somewhere. So I remember the spec, 5.64 millimeter thick phone. So, like I say, if you go for the infographics here, I'm gonna say that you're not gonna be very impressed with the entire situation. That's where have my windows gone? Because why do I say that? I'm back there. Let's just try and keep that on top. So if you look at the infographics, what are they giving me? They're giving me a new thin iPhone, but it's at least £1,000. The case is going to cost me £50. The good news is that this phone is still made of titanium, like the existing and old school Pro phones. It only has one 48 megapixel camera with optical stabilization, hence not much of a bump on the back, which is great, but only one camera, which is not great. It's a 6.5 inch display and it's running the latest A19 Pro chip with 6 CPU cores, 5 GPU cores and 16 neural cores. It's got nice things like Wi-Fi 7, but not many people are using it. It does have MagSafe and it's only got eSIMs. Now in the UK there's still a number of carriers that don't support eSIMs, notably, for example, my preferred carrier, which is Smarty. So should I go down the iPhone 17 Air route, which is a £1,000 plus route, then that's quite an expensive option. And I noticed I've actually got that's the wrong photo. That photo is the photo for the that's the photo for the 17, isn't it? I'll have to move that down. That's not the 17 Air at all. Let's move that down, shall we? On the fly editing. Come on, where are we? Here we are, 17. Right, so I'll have to find the photo for the 17 Air later. So, in terms of goodness of announcements, I think that the AirPods Pro 3, great. In terms of niceness or something you might like to consider, I'd call it a maybe. So it's got a good design feature, which is very thin. It's not actually as light as you might imagine. It's 165 grams, but as you'll see as we scroll down, the iPhone 17 is just about the same weight, interestingly enough. So they say, oh, it's a very, very thin design. Thin it might be, light it is not. I did notice in the review in the official announcement they had a picture of someone attaching a MagSafe battery to the 17 Air, and I thought, oh, the irony of the situation. You have a very thin phone, then you attach a big fat heavy battery on the back of it. Oh, yeah, you couldn't make it up, could you? Okay, so that's the 17 Air. So the Apple Watch 3 Ultra, it's a big no. Why is that? I'm actually an Ultra user. Here's my Ultra watch. This is an Ultra 2 watch. And I upgraded from my Ultra 1 watch. And my upgrade was very disappointing because the Ultra 1, although the specs say that the screen was not as bright as the Ultra 2, I believe there's some sort of software limitation on the Ultra 2, such that it's actually, when I got the Ultra 2, I was a very early adopter, and I noticed straight away that the brilliance of the screen was less at night time. So I'm very cross about the whole thing. I wish I'd kept the Ultra 1 watch now. This is going along the same lines. There was a very, very minor spec bump. They didn't disclose whether it's got the latest CPU. I suppose it must have, but it wasn't made clear in the announcement nor in this infographic. It will cost you £750. It claims to have a slightly brighter screen. Again, my previous comments apply. It claims to have a larger, longer life battery. But that, to me, is a complete red herring. Because if you do exercise regularly, my biggest tip is always as soon as you finish your exercise, you can have a shower. You put the watch on charge. So that's what I do. Every time I finish an exercise segment, I will have a shower. I'll put the watch on charge. I may even put the phone on charge. And by the time I've had my shower and dried and changed, 15 minutes have elapsed, and I've charged the watch. So to me, the battery life for watches, if you are an exercise-oriented person, is a total misnomer. Again, in the UK, 5G phone reception, or even 4G phone reception, or phone reception in general, is not very useful because the carriers in the UK don't support plans that would make your watch useful on its own. So unless you've got quite an expensive phone plan, and I'm not a fan of those plans, you're not going to get a plan that allows you to have SIM service on your watch, your Ultra watch, or even your Apple Watch 11 watch, and your phone. So to me, phone reception is complete red herring, not useful. So then we come to the Apple Watch 11 and SE announcements. The Apple Watch 11 is a superb product for the money. I don't understand why anyone who doesn't have an iPhone, so I don't understand why everyone who has an iPhone does not automatically go and buy an Apple Watch 11. It's a superb companion product to your iPhone. Absolutely superb. Now, the only reason for the Apple Watch SE to exist, in my opinion, is, and that's available for a very small £220, is, I guess, if parents want to give their kids, I don't know, an Apple Watch and don't want to stump up the money for a proper Apple Watch. So I don't quite understand the marketplace for the SE, because I think the Apple Watch 11 at full price is an absolute bargain. And the only reason to go for the Apple Watch Ultra is that if you're an exercise-oriented person and you have the money, you'd step up to Ultra. I did note the fact that Watch 11's got I believe the CPU has changed. You've got the option of 5G. You've got fast charging, and you've got that with the SE, which you didn't have before. You've got apparently better battery life, but my previous message applies. If you do exercise, you can have a shower, you can charge your watch. So, yeah, the Apple Watch 11, it's a must-buy. That hasn't changed. Probably not worth upgrading if you've got a 10, but if you've got a lesser Apple Watch, you might want to go for the performance upgrade and sell your old Apple Watch. What else have we got? We've got, of course, the iPhone 17 Pro range. So the thing that's intensely ticked me off is the fact that the new iPhones have, to my mind, some significant disadvantages, which I think distract from any advantage that they may have. The first disadvantage is they are now sporting an aluminium, not titanium body. I'm not a fan. The weights are pretty low, I'll give them that. The prices are now from £1,100 upwards. And the sizes, 6.9 inches, I mean, that's just, to me, a ludicrously large size phone. Anyone who does an amount of exercise wants a small and compact and light phone. You do not want a large, clumsy behemoth of a phone. So I would never recommend any kind of large phone to an athlete. Also on the negative side is the rather Google Pixel-esque new body shape. Now you've got a massive bump on the back, which again reminds me of a Pixel. In fact, it's even bigger and worse than a Pixel. I didn't think that was possible. Apple, you've outdone yourselves. This is a worse bump that you managed to. They had all sorts of justifications in the video, but in the hour-long video, but I don't care what their justifications are. You've got a phone that if you put it on the table is going to wobble with a massive bump, and to put that into a case, of course, to protect the lenses and the back and the front of the smartphone. I mean, it's going to be a big boy. You have got 3 48 megapixel lenses now. That's great. And you've got some sort of 8 times optical zoom, so that is useful. And also, all the new iPhones have got 18 megapixel front cameras. There's been a spec bump for the front cameras. In Europe, we have a nano SIM and eSIM version of the phone, and as opposed to the iPhone 17 Air, which is only eSIMs. An iPhone 17 finally is the phone you get if you can't afford the Pro phone. But when I say can't afford, this phone is now coming up at £800 minimum. So that's not a cheap phone. 6.3 inch display, variable frequency display. It's got 2 48 megapixel cameras. Interestingly to me, it's practically the same weight as the 17 Air. So it may not have the thinness of the 17 Air, but it's got the weight. So again, from an athlete, if you're an ultra runner, if you carry your phone around all the time and you're very weight sensitive, as am I, then to me, actually, the iPhone 17, apart from bragging rights down the pub, is probably going to be a better buy than the 17 Air, just on the weight basis. This doesn't have, by the way, the 19 Pro, but it still had all the same CPU, GPU and neural cores. So we'll have to see exactly what the benchmark differences are between A19 and A19 Pro. Interesting. And this is 8mm in depth. So there you have it. That's everything. If you want to go and buy something, I'd buy the AirPods Pro 3. You can make a pre-order now in the UK. It's about £220. It'll satisfy your must-buy something Apple thirst, and then you can just wait a little bit to see what the other products are when they get in the hands of reviewers such as myself, and we'll give you an actually better actual review of the products and see if they're worth it. But I think my analysis is pretty sound. AirPods Pro 3, yes. 17 Air, maybe. Certainly nice and thin, but really, is it going to give you any benefits, especially with that one camera design? And if you've got an existing iPhone, let's say a 15 Pro or a 16 Pro, I really would leave well alone. Just keep that lovely titanium phone. Say no to aluminium. Thanks for watching, Derry.